Close your eyes and imagine yourself walking on your toes. Halfway through, you slowly lose your balance because your heel muscles are a little too weak to lift your feet off the ground. Then, you proceed to walk, dragging each step behind you as you struggle to maintain your energy without having fatigue. You pant and puff your way through, trying to breathe slowly. If you are not careful, you are most likely to fall and scrape your knees or hands. Now I want you to open your eyes. If you haven't picked up by now, this is how I walk. This is my life with cerebral palsy. I had to crawl for the first 5 years of my life with my dad constantly holding me whenever we go out in public. It wasn't until I was 6 years old that I started to walk. I have always felt conflicted about my level of dependence on others. On the one hand, I would like to be independent and prove to myself that I can do anything. But on the other hand, I do not want to feel like a burden on others. However, I realize that opening up and making connections actually lessen that burdens and motivates me to overcome these challenges. At the age of 4, I immigrated to America from Vietnam. I spoke no English, which in addition to my disability, made life extremely difficult. When I started kindergarten, the English language barrier made it very challenging for me to communicate. Instead, I spent much of my time with all my teachers, one of whom was Evelyn. Evelyn would help me with motor skills, adaptive sports, and walking, while the other kids got to participate in mid-screen PE. One day, I didn't feel like going to my weekly adaptive PE session with her, so I blurted out, "Let's go! No, Evelyn!" I did not want her to help me. My adaptive PE session definitely made me feel isolated. I didn't understand why I needed to be separated from my friends. Inside, I did definitely yearn for the connection, but the language barrier obviously made it very difficult for me to warm up to her. The one thing that we fear as humans is isolation, right? Isolation is, by definition, is an intensive separation from others. One of the ways that we can persevere when we experience isolation in life is to connect with people who believe in us. Evelyn is one of those people in my life who truly believe in me. Rather than taking my rude comments personally, she was persistent with me. It was then that I realized she had seen something in me that I could not see within myself, and this was the desire to persevere. Evelyn knew that my isolation was hindering my ability to persevere, so she went out of her way to form a connection with me. Evelyn taught me that connection is the foundation for perseverance. Perseverance is all about pursuing life with a positive attitude, even through hardships, even when you experience challenges in your life. Positivity is that mindset when we develop when we surround ourselves with people who matter in life. They're the people who see value in us even when we can't see it within ourselves. This past year, I met a group of friends who work on a documentary with me. One day, my friend Kathleen called me up and said, "Hey Sue, would you like to be in the documentary?" I said yes, and that yes definitely changed my life. Why? The documentary showcased what life is like with a disability. It was definitely an example of perseverance. As we walked on the beach together, my friends guided me hand in hand, and at one point during the scene, I accidentally fell on the sand. My friends quickly pulled me up, and it was then that I realized that our friendship, this connection that we have, allowed our friendship to persevere. Connection is the foundation for perseverance. 2 months ago, I lost my friend Alicia to brain cancer. She was a 27-year-old young lady who battled the illness for 14 months of her life, despite her pain during chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery. This friend of mine never once complained and instead encouraged her family members to stay positive. She was also an artist, so she designed t-shirts and tote bags to help raise money for her treatments. In return, her motto, "Stay positive," has inspired the people surrounding her with love and care. It's a small act of love that counts. She is a true example of perseverance and positivity because she kept fighting her battle with a smile until the very, very end. Although she lived a short life, she definitely lived it with grace and strength. Some people have many years, others don't, and I'm certain nobody in this audience can predict our own death. Connection is the foundation for perseverance. It is the essence for a meaningful, fulfilled life. I would like to ask you all to take a few seconds to think of one or more people in your life who has helped you. If they're right next to you, turn to them and smile. Or if they're not, visualize them in your mind and smile. Seriously, smile. The next time you feel like giving up on that goal or struggle, just please remember why you exist. Remember who and what got you up in the morning. Make connections with people who lift you up. You'll need them in the long run because life will throw you curveballs. It will be tough. My parents, friends, teachers, doctors, therapists, and I know many of them are in this audience, have given me the strength to overcome my struggles because obviously they did not give up on me. And that is why connection is the foundation for perseverance. I encourage you all to think about the connection you make now and in the future. Think about the people who came into your life. They're certainly there for one reason, and that is because they believe in you. Perseverance. It's a big word that carries a lot of meaning. However, I believe it does not exist without people. It certainly doesn't exist without connection. Persevere and stay positive always. Thank you, and have a great day.